I'll just let Jay get started with the big picture. And how does the multifamily outlook in 2025, how does it compare to recent years, Jay?
First of all, thank you so much, Peyton, for allowing me to be part of the team. And thank you for all of you for joining us today. So, where are we today? Let's start with that. You may have seen, I'm sure all of you are familiar with the headlines around multifamily. Obviously, we've seen lesser rent growth and we've seen some challenges related to the current supply that Peyton mentioned. But one thing I think it's really important to note is that there's not been a demand issue. We have a lot of demand for apartments. And in fact, when you look at how this last couple of years has played out, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster. But you can see in this chart the reemergence of demand, strong demand last year. In fact, I was probably among the more bullish people on demand last year, but even I was wrong. Like it was more than I expected, and I think more than really anybody anticipated in terms of net absorption. And so you can see in 2021 we had this huge boom post-COVID or during COVID, then peak inflation. There's nervousness around the economy. We had a lot of jobs being formed, but people got a little nervous how people stay in place. And then 23 started to get better, and 24 a lot of supply, and then we saw a lot of demand really meeting that supply, which really told us that there was a lot of pent-up demand for apartments out in the marketplace. And by the way, too, when you think about this as well, I want to point out a lot of times I show this chart here like, well, it's because no one's buying a house. And I'll get into that a little more later, but I'll tell you, when you look at when you think about apartment demand, and for us, it's really net absorption, move-ins minus move-outs. These are net new renters. Most home buyers are already renters. Now they're going to go in to buy a house. And so this is just true. These are people who generally are in that apartment demographic, and now they're entering the apartment stage of life for the first time. So let's not give the stalled out home buyer market too much credit here. So again, really good demand. All signs that we've seen through the first part of 2025 is a pretty similar story. And then at the same time, the market now is a little bit different than the past few years. We've continued to see this flurry of starts. Now we're not. So this chart is showing, this is probably one of the more popular charts that I show on social media and whatnot. People are always asking me for a copy of it, but happy to share it with you all too. Is publicly available data, but it's just showing you the difference between starts versus completions in multifamily. And so this is a really, I think, powerful visual to show you that in these last 12 months, as a country, we've completed 262,000 more units than we started. And that's the biggest gap since 1975. And so starts are plummeting. Current moment, there's a ton of completions in the market. Obviously, you don't need an advanced math degree to figure out where this is going, where we're going to ultimately see a lot fewer starts. And so that's a big shift as well, is that while we're dealing with a lot of lease up challenges in the moment because of the influx of a 50-year high of supply, starts are really showing us within the next 12 to 24 months, there's going to be substantially less in terms of supply.